Andy Vitek. Cars, ever since I was a kid, I've been passionate about cars. 40 years of racing them, collecting them, and keeping them running.
Yeah, just leave it on.
It's a passion I've shared with my kids, and now I'm sharing it with you on Turn 1.
Oh my god!
Holy, okay. I just watched this stuff. Holy shit. Wow. This is the M340.
Yes.
So what is the difference between the M340 and the M3?
So this basically replaces what was previously the 340i.
Okay.
Right?
That makes sense.
So it's kind of between the 330, which is your four-cylinder kind of, entry-level luxury sedan or mid-size, and this is more so. It's made to kind of bridge the gap between a normal 3 Series and a true M car. So it's not necessarily a true M car, but it's been worked on by M Performance, so it's a little confusing.
It is confusing. Yeah. I mean, what's the cost of this? It's not like it's 40 grand.
No, they start at, I think, mid-50s, and this is the xDrive model. It has quite a few options, not everything, but I think the sticker on this is like 63 grand. But, a few years ago, you could get an M3 for that price. So, you know what I mean?
But, yeah, no, I get it. But does this have the components of the M? Because the M has thousands of parts that are so different than the regular M, or the regular 3.
Right, so this is
non-M.
Right, and this doesn't have any of that, to be honest. I mean, it has reworked suspension. The engine is making a little bit more than it was in the 340 a few years ago. This is making about 382 horsepower. But that's also BMW's claims, which have been pretty conservative lately. So dyno sheets have seen this making about that to the wheels. So I'd say it's about 430 horsepower.
So okay, I get that.
But I would say it's more. It has more components to a normal BMW, quote unquote normal BMW, than an M.
Non-M.
This is the highest spec 3 Series you can get right now because they haven't released the new M3. But the previous generation M3.
Go back to 19 then.
19. So that would be. So it's the last body style, and that was making like 425 horsepower, but again underrated. 0 to 60, 4 seconds ish, depending on what trim you get, and you'd probably be spending around low 70s for that. So not too much more than this.
It's really not, yeah. And this car, which we're going to see in a little bit, because this car runs. This car really runs well.
Yeah, actually, what do you think? We're at a stop sign.
Right,
we're in first gear.
We're in first gear.
Let's do a launch.
Little launch control and
ready. So and to do that, you put it into sport mode, sport shifting mode.
Okay.
You turn traction on to sport traction. Foot out hard on the brakes. Floor the throttle for a bit. Launch control active.
Good God.
Oh my God!
Holy. Okay. Let's watch this stuff. Holy shit! Wow. If you watched our other videos, we had the Nissan GTR out. I'll tell you that this car took off as quick, if not quicker than that Nissan.
Which is just
sounds better. This
it does sound
the exhaust on this car, is that factory?
Yeah.
That's
another thing that they really put money into, because the previous Gen 340, unless you got the M Performance exhaust, which was an extra, it really didn't have a very characteristic sound, where this has, I don't know, I think it sounds better than the M3, to be honest, because it just sounds a little bit more raw, and the M3 is like a little too raspy. My friend has an M3, so I hear it all the time. He likes to play around with that.
But this is a nice, maybe they'll throw this exhaust on the M.
Maybe.
Because it sounds good. I mean, this is the inline 6, so they went back to the inline 6.
They did. So this is the B58 is the engine code for that. So and that's what's in the new Supra, the Z4, M340, and then all the other X3, M40i.
Okay, so they're using that engine across the board.
Yeah. And it's just a great engine. It's very tunable.
Yeah.
But even stock, it just pulls. It has so much torque and barely any lag.
No, it's impressive. I mean, I'm comparing it to the twin turbo Porsche, and being a standard transmission in that, a 6-speed, this would take it off the line because it's just.
Oh my God, yeah. The launch control is just insane.
The launch control, yeah. Without that, you can't. I can't shift. I can shift pretty fast, but.
And this isn't automatic. This isn't a dual clutch, and it shifts. It's just so quick.
It's seamless. Yeah. It's really, really impressive. The only thing is that I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the car, looking at the lines. It's a good-looking car. It is a good-looking car.
It is. I think they did a good job on this new body style.
They did. It doesn't look like an M. I mean, you could really pick out an M car. Same body. You could just pick out the different lines.
Yeah, exactly. Because the M3s have the wider fenders and everything. It just looks so mean. This looks mean. But,
it does look mean.
And this has some aftermarket parts on it, different grille, different mirrors, but it still looks fairly similar to a normal 3 Series. So I think dynamically, this really is a great just package for the price. But if you're looking for something that really stands out and something that has a bit more bespoke, like a more bespoke drivetrain, this isn't right. This isn't the right car for you because it's very similar to a 330. You can get a 330 with the same kind of body style and graphics as this for a lot cheaper.
Right.
But
then you look at like the true sports cars out there. I'm not talking about a family saloon or sedan.
Right.
This is a great car because it's 4-door. You could drive this car very normally.
Oh yeah. So we're in Sport Plus, so everything is it's much more touchy and twitchy. But there's like an economy mode on here, and you can be getting close to 30 miles to gallon on the highway while also having that sub 4 seconds 0 to 60. Like BMW says 4.1 0 to 60, but I think it was Car and Driver or Motor Trend, they tested the stock one and it was 3.8 seconds 0 to 60, which is literally C6 Z06 territory, which is just insane.
Speaking of that, though, the new C8, I mean, when you're looking at dollars, if you didn't need the 4-door, you were just looking for a performance car that you can drive, a daily driver that is performance oriented.
That's cheaper than
that's
this.
Scary, scary fast, and that new C8 is just hot. And whatever
it really
you
stands
do,
out.
Just don't mention it around Gus.
We'll have all of GM.
We're going to have the police at our house in a little bit with this car. But we're gonna do a review on that. We just need to. That's going to be quite a car, but this thing, it rides nice. I mean, it has
now we're in
the
eco
normal
mode, and you barely hear the exhaust.
No, it's not. That's what's
Yeah.
really nice about these.
You know, take the wife out, she won't complain about, yeah, you're driving too fast. Like, it just seems like a normal sedan. And then, but with a push of a button, you know, you go into sport, you have the crackles, you know.
Right.
And then
torque is just unbelievable.
It's immediate, and it's all low down.
Right.
So my previous car was the Jaguar XES, you know, it's supercharged V6, and that felt, you know, supercharged cars feel very naturally aspirated in their power delivery, but that means that you really have to kind of rev them out to get the full torque number. This, you have so much torque at like 2,000 RPM. It's crazy. But let's pull over. I'm going to let you get in the driver's seat.
All right.
I want to
show you how to drive.
Fair enough. But I want to see, because you have a 2003 911 Turbo, which has been tuned, and I want to see your thought process. I know that this is an automatic car, but I want to see what you think in terms of in-gear power this kind of compares to that. Because that was one of the top performance cars of that day. And if this thing, for a normal 4-door car to be even close, would be extremely impressive.
I could tell you without driving it's pretty close, but you always have that sensation in the passenger seat that's a little more radical than the driver's seat. But
all right, well, let's see what you think.
Let's check it out. All right, well, doesn't feel bad. We have an 03 330 XI.
Correct. Yeah.
Alex has that, and I mean, there's no comparison in this. This feels like a 5.
Right, and then I actually saw that. So the 7 Series that went up into production until 2001. This is about the same size, the same length, which is just insane.
The old 5, you mean?
The old 7.
The old 7?
From 2001, yes. So before they went to like the really bulbous style. So this is a pretty big car, but it doesn't feel it when you're driving it. It feels really small and tight, which is great. But you have the utility of the larger back seats, and I'm really comfortable right now. But also, you haven't accelerated yet, which I'm scared about. So. Oh my God! What do you think about the paddle shifters?
I love them. Feels good.
Moving the camera around with those G-forces. Wow.
That feels great. And the all-wheel drive is just stuck to the road.
Right, but what I like what BMW does, how they tune the xDrive system in some of these M Performance models, is that when you put it on sport traction mode, which means it's not fully traction off, it feels almost rear-wheel drive. You can kick the tail out very easily, and
right, because it's not a 50-50. So
no. It's very much a rear-biased all-wheel drive system, which is great.
Like the 911 is, I believe that can alter like 70-30.
Right.
They make it that way to where it really can, the bias goes to the rear wheels.
Right, and I'm not sure about the percentages, but when you put it, traction off or traction in sport mode, it feels very much rear-wheel drive, but you have that extra security of all-wheel drive, and it's great. And then you can just pull off these crazy launches. Again, that sub 4 seconds 0 to 60, that just blows my mind.
It's definitely it's a close match to the 911. I can tell you.
Would you say so?
Now again, that's we're talking about around town and so on a track. I understand that this is all-wheel drive, and the 911 is just.
It's probably so much more focused.
I think it's just more functional as a track, a race car,
right? And then
a factory race car, which they kind of are, rather than. But the dollar amount difference, and I think for the everyday driver, how can you beat something like this?
No, and it's so quiet, because the 911s you get the road noise, and it's just like a little bit less comfortable, and they're great cars. But this is a luxury car first, with a big 3-liter inline 6 shoehorned into it, and all this technology. So as a daily driver, it's great, and because of the turbocharging, it's so much more fuel efficient than our Jags that we had, and with more performance, and for the same price.
The Jags were. I mean, I'm just noticing the visibility, and I know this may sound crazy, but like the height of the door panel. The Jaguar was so. There's a ton of blind spots.
Yeah, you feel very cocooned in.
Very cocooned.
And
you wrapped
like
in.
That.
It was nice, but just to put your arm on the door, simply, something like that. Your arm was above the, the normal comfortable range. It was just weird. But
this is just. I think that the layout is just great. The materials are great. They did such a good job with this new 3 Series, and it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. I mean,
oh my God.
For traction. Yeah, this is a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
I like it.
But, okay,
say that again?
You're in automatic mode right now.
Okay.
Floor it all the way right now and just see how quickly this...
I'll floor it.
There might be a
cop sitting up there. I'll floor it in jail. I'll be on the floor, pinned to a guy named Chip.
Yeah, so it's 65 grand, but you have to think about all the speeding tickets you're going to get. Oh my God. See, it just responds. Like that was automatic mode, and it just downshifts
But it's
2 gears and goes,
really.
right in the power band.
It sounds so freaking good, too.
It does.
Really. And I mean, it's like a cross between listen to that exhaust.
Yeah.
When it's, I'm not going to say redlined. Just $5,000. At $5,000, it sounds like a V8.
It does have a bit of a raw character to it. Like it has a growl, which with a lot of 6-cylinders, they're almost too
6-cylinder-ish.
Yeah, for
It's
lack of a better
cylinder. No, but this actually at $5,000, the exhaust must open up. But it does. It sounds like it's like almost like a flat plane type of sound. You know, the real high RPM V8. Anyway.
So what do you think about the handling?
It's not even what to think about it. It's just
it's like almost
you don't think about it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
The car goes where you want it to go.
Exactly, and that's a good thing. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, if you don't think about your line and that, but you don't have to because the car just handles really well.
It's almost like it knows where you want to put it, and same with the transmission. Like when you have it in automatic.
Driving into this wall.
Yeah, true.
What are you talking about? No, when you have to think about, like a rear biased or a rear wheel drive car, and you're going around a corner and you know it's going to kick out or the potential of it kicking out.
Right.
That's always on your mind. Like when we're racing, it's always on your mind. How much can the car take before it kicks out?
Sure.
And you want to push it to that limit without pushing it up. This, it's you're just driving it. You don't even worry about it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome.
So, would you say it's worth the $65,000 though? I mean, again, this is a high spec version, but would you say that it's worth the $55,000 to $65,000 range, or?
I think when the M comes out, I'd like to see what the price is on that because the average person can't buy a car like this.
No. So if you're already at that point where you're spending $65,000 on a car, is it worth it to just shell out a little bit more and get the true M? But we won't know until it comes out. So
I mean, even if the new M is close to 80,
yeah.
I mean, what are you talking? 20% more?
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But I think if you can't afford an M, this is the closest thing you're going to get.
Yeah.
And it's.
And we've owned a lot of M's, and this is by far the fastest one. I think we
have right now a '87 M6, and it's
right.
It's a fun car, but it's a dog compared to this stuff. Even with that, the S, I guess it's the S80 6 in it.
But we each owned E46 M3s, and this is
E36 and 46, and
this is. No comparison. I know that's
this car would mop the town with the older M's. Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Which is very impressive.
Great. It's extremely impressive. So you know what? To answer your question, I think for $60,000, when a Camry costs 30, 30 grand for a loaded up, everyday car. I think it's probably pretty good value.
It's definitely more than twice as fun as those.
Huh.
And
not for the person that is driving one.
True.
A person that goes out and buys a Camry is not going to be excited about what we just did.
That's a good point.
Right? They're going to be excited about the fuel economy and how much groceries they could put in the back. This is how fast I can get to the store to buy that stuff, right? And how much excitement. And the thing is, you're driving this with a smile because it's the sound. I think it's, good choice.
Yeah. I think this gets the turn one recommendation then.
Yeah, I think
at least until the M3 comes out.
We need to see what the M is going to be.
Yeah.
What the price is on that, but for the money and for the excitement, Matt, it's
That's great.
We give it 1 thumbs up.
Pick number 3, my lord.
All right.
All right, we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in. The Turn 1 crew wants to give back to its viewers and subscribers. So click on the subscribe button and subscribe to our adventures. And for that, we're going to have a monthly contest And that contest is going to be our friends at Go Fast Classics. They're supplying us with BMW stem caps as well as license plate bolt caps matching. We also have camouflage if you're a truck driver. Click on subscribe for more adventures, and you'll be entered automatically by leaving a comment so we know who you are in our giveaway, our monthly giveaway. Tune in to turn 1.